Well, hello, my lovelies. It's your favorite smark of all time, the lover. And I'm here to explain to you guys why the hater is totally wrong about everything and why people like AJ2000 are the ones that really get it. And I'm going to do that by explaining to you guys why AEW and Cody Rhodes are the best thing that ever happened to wrestling. First of all, let's start with AEW a little bit, guys. I mean, how can anyone disagree? I mean, AEW is the most creative wrestling company of all time. I mean, they've taken people that were held back by Vince McMahon. They were held back from their true potential. Superstars. I'm talking about people that should have main evented WrestleMania. I mean, how is it that Pac, I know the hater calls him Adrian Neville still, but that's because he doesn't know. He's not a good wrestling fan. His name is Pac now. It's not even Pac. Now it's Pac, right? Pac should have main evented WrestleMania against Ty Dillinger and Luke Harper in a triple threat match for both the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship. Think about that, guys. That match would steal the show. The amount of work rate in that match and the psychology that people like Sean Spears would bring to that match would be insane, guys. And now that Sean Spears, Pac, and Brody Lee, the exalted one, might I add, now that these three guys are in a better company with a brighter future, with better business sense, and better creative, called AEW All Elite Wrestling, now that they're there, perhaps at their big anniversary show, they can do what Vince McMahon should have done, which is make a main event with these three stars. And if AEW is smart, they might even want to add QT Marshall to that match if they really want to get the first 8-star match ever by respected wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer, who understands more than anybody else about wrestling. Even though he's just a nerd, he understands so much more. And let me tell you guys, being a nerd, it's cool. And being a virgin is also cool. Don't listen to what the hater says. The only way to get girls is to continuously pine over the same girl who won't give you any attention whatsoever. And be her friend, guys. And maybe one day she'll feel really lonely and then she will open up her legs for you. And you can take advantage like you plan on doing. You sick bastards. You understand what I'm saying? Sorry, that was the hater overheard and he just called you guys sick bastards. That wasn't me, guys. That was the hater. I am the lover, okay? I am a good wrestling fan. I'm not like that other guy, okay? Now, let's go on about why AEW is great. Aside from the fact that they have these three main eventers, to Pac, Sean Spears, and Brody Lee, who, in my opinion, are this era's Stone Cold, Undertaker, and The Rock. I mean, is there any doubt? And if you add in QT Marshall, you also have your Triple H. This is like a WrestleMania-worthy match, and Vince just didn't see it. He's so out of touch that instead of making a match between what he called Ty Dillinger, who we all know as Gavin Spears, Sean Spears. Sorry, guys, that's how good of a fan I am. Instead of making a match between Sean Spears and Pac for the WrestleMania main event, a unification bout, right? Instead of doing that, he thought it would be better to have a match involving Triple H and Brock Lesnar, or the year before, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, or any like John Cena versus Edge. All these big time matches that they had were wrong. They were the wrong decision. If it were up to the lover and people like AJ2000, what would happen is that the right thing would happen, guys. The right thing would happen. Kenta would have been a 17-time world champion, and he would have beaten Ric Flair's record, And people like John Cena would be jobbing to people like Jack Gallagher, because Jack Gallagher is just better than Cena, guys. Maybe AEW can sign him too. That would be amazing, don't you think, guys? Aside from these missed opportunities and the fact that AEW will surely capitalize on these missed opportunities, AEW is also better than WWE because it gives its stars creative control. I mean, just look. AEW has been around as long as this channel has been around, which is about almost 6 months now. And AEW has, just think about all the creative things they've done. How creative is the MJF character, guys. How creative is this thing? We've never seen an arrogant heel before make fun of the crowd. I mean, this is just... In WWE, this wouldn't happen, guys. WWE would never have an arrogant heel that makes fun of the crowd. I mean, someone like Chris Jericho. They would never have someone like Chris Jericho, who, by the way, has reinvented himself again. Now he wears like a bandana instead of a scarf, and he's called the Painmaker. With this, I mean, a bandana instead of a scarf? How genius is that, guys? I mean, only someone with the intellectual capacity and the wrestling knowledge of Jericho could do this. This is incredible. I mean, first he put over the list of Jericho, and now the lexicon of Jericho. I mean, this man is so creative that it's insane, And AEW is finally letting him do the same exact things he did in WWE, but they're pretending that it's more creative. And it works, guys, because it is more creative, because it's happening in AEW. Therefore, it's just more creative because it's happening in AEW. Think about that. You know what I mean? Jack Swagger comes out, and now he comes out to rap music. Automatically, his character has been improved 10,000-fold. Think about it. I mean, Shawn Spears is the chairman of AEW. I mean, forget the fact that Edge and Christian were the chairman of WWE back in like 2001. Shawn Spears took it to another level because he wore blue contacts. And if blue contacts don't scream creativity, I don't know what does, guys. I do not know what does. I mean, this is the most creative company of all time. You have a grown man dressed as a dinosaur. You know what I mean? I mean, how is that not creative? WWE couldn't go full way. They just had a guy called the Funkasaurus who was a normal guy. But that's not creative. Creative is having a guy who actually thinks he's a dinosaur. And having a girl who actually thinks she's an alien. And then having someone like Brandy Rhodes. I mean, the most creative angle in AEW history by far is the Nightmare Collective. I mean, Brandy Rhodes basically took what the Dark Order was doing. She took it and made it better, guys. And it had the best conclusion ever. They shaved a girl's head, and then I guess they had to fire her because Brandy Rhodes, it was all a dream. Everything we saw on TV, live, was all a dream, guys. It was all in Brandy's head. I mean, think about the level of writing that it takes to scrap an entire storyline and say it was all in her head. I mean, that's just genius. It's brilliant. Which brings us next to the other half of this video, which is why Cody Rhodes is awesome. I mean, Cody Rhodes was being held back at WWE. He was given no opportunities, and in AEW, he has finally been given opportunities. I mean, I don't know any opportunities that Cody was given in WWE, except for being in Legacy. I mean, that was kind of an opportunity. I mean, let's be honest, that was kind of an opportunity, a little bit of an opportunity there. Then he was given several gimmicks, and none of them panned out. He wasn't able to get over with several gimmicks. Then, he was given another opportunity to be in a tag team with his brother, and that didn't go over. They made him Stardust, and that didn't go over. I mean, what did this guy want? It seems like he just wanted to be in the main event without earning it, without actually getting over by himself. And guess what, guys? That is totally reasonable. Because in AEW, that's how it works. You don't have to prove yourself in AEW. You don't have to actually be over because of your talents. No, what you have to do in AEW to be over and to become a main eventer is just come from the WWE. Take someone like Jon Moxley. He just comes from the WWE and they make him champion. Oh, his creative juices, though. I mean, how creative is he now in AEW? When compared to WWE, I mean, he is at least 3,000 times more creative. I mean, he does the same exact moves, except now he lifts the person up before doing the dirty deeds sometimes, which is now called the paradigm shift. I'm sorry again. Right? He acts the exact same way. He comes from the crowd like he did when he was part of the Shield. He is kind of insane, just like when he was the Lunatic Fringe. But because it's an AEW, it's so much better, guys. It's so much better. I mean, how can anyone even argue against this, It doesn't make any sense. Clearly, Jon Moxley was better than John Cena. I mean, John Cena even stole his name from Jon Moxley. Everybody knows that, So think about what AEW is doing for us and what it's doing specifically for Cody Rhodes. I mean, Cody Rhodes, this guy, he comes from wrestling royalty, And that means conclusively that he understands more about wrestling than Vince McMahon. I mean, he comes from the loins, from the balls of Dusty Rhodes. So he understands more than Triple H and Vince McMahon just because his father understands like quite a bit about wrestling, And Cody Rhodes was never given the creative freedom to run his character as he wanted to. And now that he's been given that freedom, we have seen him do incredible things like bleach his hair, copy promos from Ric Flair, copy promos from Triple H. We've seen him break a throne with a sledgehammer. I mean, if that wasn't creative and that wasn't awesome, then I don't know what is. And more importantly, we've seen him get a neck tattoo, which is easily the coolest tattoo of all time. I'm sure AJ 2000 would agree. You know what I mean? So that's what I have to say about that. I mean, Cody Rhodes is finally able to blossom into the main eventer that he is. I mean, it's not the fact that Cody Rhodes was too small, right? And had very little charisma. It's not that held him back. It's the fact that the brass did not want him to make it, guys. They did not want Cody to make it. They wanted to systemically hold him down. So Cody Rhodes decided to then go to New Japan, where he joined the greatest faction of all time, the best faction ever. I mean, this faction is what what the NWO were based on. I'm talking, of course, about Bullet Club. Bullet Club came, and then NWO copied them, guys. They copied them. I know some of you are thinking, how could they copy them if Bullet Club happened afterwards? Well, the rumor is that Scott Hall, and I've heard this in a conspiracy video, Scott Hall had a time machine, and he used the time machine to go to the future, steal the Bullet Club gimmick, and bring it back to make NWO. I mean, this is fact, guys. If you don't believe this, I don't know what to tell you. So Cody Rhodes was held back until he went to the Bullet Club. And then after that, he started his own company, guys. And he used this company to promote himself, his wife, his brother, and his friends. That's the purpose of this company. Because that's what wrestling is, guys. You have to own the means of production. Like Karl Marx said, own the means of production, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want, basically. That's what Cody Rhodes is doing, guys. And the lover loves it because the lover loves Cody Rhodes. And I know a lot of people, a lot of fans like Cody Rhodes. If you go to these wrestling forums, you will just hear these people saying how handsome Cody Rhodes is, how talented he is, how some of those people would like to have sex with him, even though, quote unquote, they're not gay. The same thing they said about Finn Balor. I mean, it's very odd. The lover doesn't like that kind of stuff because the lover is a lover of ladies, let me tell you that, just like the hater is. But the lover appreciates the amazingness of someone like Cody Rhodes. And this is a message to the hater, because you will listen to this hater. Me and the hater are friends now. We get along, but sometimes he does yell at me. But hater, you will understand this. Do not, I repeat, do not dare to ever again call Cody Rhodes Cucky Rhodes. That is not funny. It's not cool. And you are a bad wrestling fan. And think about it, guys. Now that WrestleMania is 2 nights, imagine if the first night ended with Edge versus Orton. Probably a 3-star match. And the second night ended with the triple threat match. The triple threat, guys. Pac, Shawn Spears, and everybody's favorite wrestler, the exerted one, Brody Lee. I'm sure he is exerted in more ways than one, but one of them is that he is the best wrestler that AEW has now, along with Cody. I'm telling you guys, AEW better than WWE. Cody Rhodes way better than anyone WWE has ever made. I mean, Dave Meltzer, like the Godfather, nobody understands wrestling more than Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer said it himself, guys. He said it himself. Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano. These two guys are legends, by the way better than Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle. These guys had a 6-star match, which was, or maybe a 5.5-star match, which was the highest rated WWE match of all time, except for that one with Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat. Think about what that means. Think about it. Imagine if instead of these guys, you had a 8-star match between Pac, Sean Spears and Brody Lee. It would be incredible, guys. So with that, I will say, stay safe with this coronavirus. And the lover will see you lovelies sooner rather than later.